she was mixing her drink this way. Like most bartenders mix their drinks this way. That somehow caught my attention. I'm not sure why. Everybody who buys a drink, everybody in a bar needs to buy a drink that needs mixed and get it from her. And where the band is going to stop when she's mixing it. Hey, I'm Kevin McLoughlin, and welcome to the Riffs and
Rhythms podcast. I am Paul Robertson, and glad you can join us.
So we're here on the Riffs and Rhythms podcast to debate as to whether or not the riffs are better or if the riffs are better.
And this is season 2.
Oh, welcome to season 2, everybody.
Yeah.
What episode is this now?
This is 16. 1-6.
Episode 16, and we're in this is our second episode in the new year now, right?
That's right. Episode 16 in 24 and more, right?
Yeah, 24 is the year of more.
Right.
More of what is up to you, but it'll be more or something.
So this is going to be an interesting episode here. We're going to talk about some things that's going to lead into what we've been talking about for quite some time is Kevin's competition that he's got coming up here in Memphis. And, so this episode, we're going to get prepped. We're going to prime the jets here, pumps or whatever they call it, and talk a little bit about some of those things that are going to be leading us up to that week in Memphis, which I'm really excited about because I've never been to Memphis. There's so much history there in so many different ways, right? Looking forward to it. So, so you've been to Memphis, right? And we're going to be heading up there. We're traveling up. So is that like a 14-hour drive, I think, or something like that?
Yeah.
It's a little haul coming out of South Florida to get out of the state. But we get up there in Memphis and then competition and so forth. But besides just about the competition, I guess what am I to expect in Memphis, right? I know Elvis has got a house there, Graceland, which we're going to check out. But yeah, what am I to expect in Memphis, right? What's the story? What's the history and all that, right?
Well, as far as us is concerned, we're staying in an Airbnb. We got a whole house. You're going to be in the band house.
Is it up in the air? It's an Airbnb.
Not.
Airbnb, right?
It's on the ground.
Oh, okay. All right.
But it's great. It's good. It's going to be, traditionally the 16th, 18th of January is the coldest day in the northern hemisphere.
Oh, so perfect.
It's going to be perfect.
And we're going more north than where we're currently at.
Yeah, as Florida boys, we'll have a great time. Bring your skivvies.
I've got my beanie here, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, just talking about Memphis makes it cold. But we're gonna have nothing to do but hang out during the day and then performances at night. And the Airbnb has a pool table.
Oh boy!
So we're going there, and of course Memphis is Elvis's home, the home of blues, the home of barbecue, and really, Beale Street is the epicenter of all the music, and it's just dripping with blues music history. It's
so in comparison to, I've been to Nashville, but in comparison to Memphis, is the main strip similar, or how different are they between the two?
It's a lot more old school.
Okay.
So I've been to the strip in Nashville, and it's turned into a circus. They call it Nash Vegas for a reason. Memphis is more down-home blues kind of deal. It's not so glitzy. It's more authentic, I think. So
there's again, the history, and we were talking in the last episode about the Elvis movie and how, it was a different take on the story about Elvis, and obviously Colonel Tom Parker and his whole, it just kind of, I think it was a really great movie. And I think I've said before in previous podcasts, I don't consider myself an Elvis fan, right? A fanatic, right? Again, I know who he is. I know what he's done, and I think for some that probably don't know, they know who Elvis is, but, he, really didn't write any of his music. He performed, he can play some instruments.
So what Elvis did, in my opinion, is he took black music and he whiteified it for the masses and brought the blues is one of the very few uniquely American art forms. Blues and jazz, really, musically. And Elvis kind of, brought that to the masses.
Well, Ed, I know like Hound Dog, such a the original version of that. So it sounds nothing like, right?
Well, he took those classics and made
that
them rock and roll.
very raw and kind of, but then made it poppy, I guess, if you want to call it, right? 50s pop ish.
Yeah, rock and roll. He was the bridge between the underground, blues music of America and, rock and roll and pop in the 50s.
Right.
And, transformed the face of music. And his relationship with his manager is it's infamous.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Not Colonel Sanders, Colonel Tom Parker. Right. Big difference between the two if you don't know. But but you would always associate the two, right? Whenever somebody would talk, it was Elvis and the Colonel.
Well, yeah, and whether or not Elvis would exist in the way we know him without the Colonel is debatable. But what isn't debatable is that if I remember my facts correctly, like the Colonel, his deal with the Colonel was that the Colonel would get 50% of everything he earned in perpetuity. And the Colonel was still making 50% of Elvis's estate after he died. It took a lot to dislodge that deal.
It's I think that movie shed more light on who the Colonel was, or at least how he was portrayed in the movie. That he saw an opportunity. It's almost like more modern era of what happened with the Backstreet Boys and all the Orlando pop kid boy bands in the 90s. Is their manager very much just rode those coattails, milked them as much as they can for the money for it. But anyway, so back to Memphis.
Well, that's what happens when you take artists who are idealistic, trusting people, and savvy businessmen who are willing to take advantage. Would one exist without the other? I don't know. Is that good or bad? I don't know. Would we even have ever heard of Elvis's name without the Colonel? I don't know. These things are all debatable. Did the Colonel earn every penny that he got? I don't know.
Right. So,
but let's make that the focus. I mean, Elvis transformed music for the world,
right?
No question. And he
still had to sing. He still did the singing.
Yeah, he was so controversial that they wouldn't even show him from the waist down on television in the 50s.
And I think if history serves me correct, if I remember, that Forrest Gump actually taught him how to dance.
Well, if you believe the hype in the movie, yeah. So, no question that Elvis is a part of American pop culture. Some people believe he's still alive. And his residency in Vegas, I think, was the first notable one.
Right.
And, myself as a guitar player and a singer-songwriter, 99.99999% of even the most famous of all artists will never touch the footprint that Elvis has on music. He's a giant, and he'll never be debatable.
He's almost up there like the equivalency of like when a baseball to Babe Ruth, right? There's people that have broken Babe Ruth's records, but Babe Ruth is always up there like this mythical, untouchable. There's other baseball players, but and the same thing with Elvis. Elvis is that same thing. Again, people still swear they see him. There's all the Elvis impersonators who go to Vegas and you'll see them all over the place, or you can get married by an Elvis. And so it's there's a cultural.
There's no Jerry Lee Lewis impersonators, or at least not at the scale of Elvis impersonators. There's no there's not any Paul McCartney impersonators running around. It's not an entire convention of Paul McCartney impersonators every year. Elvis is the apex of iconic when it comes to rock and roll.
It's he definitely, till to this day that people are still so much big into Elvis, and to know that that was what, the late 70s, 77?
Came out in the late 50s.
No, when he passed away.
Whoa.
When he passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, so when he passed away, right, that's nearly 50 years. He's been, he's gone. And still to this day, and will be those same people lining up and paying money to go walk through his house, right? So,
Right. Yeah, that was the thing that I've noticed about Graceland is it's not the giant opulent mansion that you would expect. I mean, it's a big piece of property, but it's not like
this big house, this monster house.
It's not like
yeah.
Robin Leach is going to go there and talk about the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
I was doing a little bit of homework beforehand and was looking and Googling pictures of Graceland and so forth, and I had exactly that same sentiment just from the pictures saying, I hope I don't get disappointed in what this mythical house is, right? I mean, other than the White House, what other house does people call by name? Other than maybe here in South Florida, Mar-a-Lago, but
Elvis was a country boy. I mean, he's got sensible values.
Yeah.
He's not going to spend zillions of dollars on dumb stuff, which he probably did. But it wasn't on his house. Maybe by the standards of the '60s, it was.
Yeah, right.
And then, of course, across the street at the time, I think it's gone now, but there was a giant parking lot, like about the size of a Walmart parking lot, right across the street, and it had his plane there. It's just sitting there, I don't know if it's still there or not. This was a few years ago.
And a lot of his family members are actually buried there too.
Yeah, they've got a
and a couple new additions probably since the last time you've been there, unfortunately.
Hopefully, yeah.
So,
and then of course also Memphis Sun Studios. Sun Studios, some of the most memorable recordings of early rock and roll.
So let me ask you, all right. So I've been to the RCA studio. I think it's the RCA studio in Nashville, and Elvis recorded there, like a lot of many other people, right? And it's one of the few studios that are still left because of a lot of urban redevelopment that's tearing and buying out all these places. The historical aspect of it, but in the studio there, they have a marker on the floor. It's like the dead center of point of the room to get the best vocals. But Elvis had performed there, but I think it's something you think back to certain things. You say, God, this is where you think about the history of Elvis was here or this person was here. I'm in the same room. And not to kind of get overboard about a musician, right? They're put the pants on as much as anyone else. But, just kind of think back to like what it was like to record or in Sun Studios, right? The famous Sun Studios that every name of country music or R&B or blues and others, or even you mentioned Muscle Shoals, another huge name
in Alabama, not far from Memphis.
Yeah, so it's definitely I'm really excited about the trip. So Memphis again, totally many hours away from Nashville, right? Two different other sides of the state.
Nashville's kind of in the middle, a little bit to the right, but
right.
Memphis is the farthest west point in Tennessee.
So right on the Mississippi, right? So that's that's a lot of like you go up the blue, right? They always talk about the blues travel, how important the Mississippi River is tied to the blues, right?
Yeah. The Mississippi Delta blues, and then people migrating north to get away from whatever it is that they were trying to get away from, bad conditions and all that. And, Memphis was one of those stops. There's Memphis blues, there's Chicago blues, there's the Delta blues that are all right on the river there. Yeah. So, and it's American culture. It's American history tied to music.
So do you know the first place that you got to play out yet or no, not yet?
Well, the way it's going to go is that we're going to leave out literally Tuesday morning, super early. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to get there in time to pick up the rest of the band on the plane and go to the Airbnb. And then the following day, we're going to show up at the artist meeting, and then that's when they tell us where we're playing.
Got it.
And so if you're familiar at all with South by Southwest, which is like basically a total town takeover of artists from all over the world, this is that on Beale Street, but it's like a contest to see who's going to be the best one of all the unsigned blues bands. So we get there, we get assigned our venue, and then we play that night. So we're playing Wednesday night, and then if we're chosen, we advance to Thursday. If we're chosen, we advance to Friday, and then we're going to win. We're going to win the whole thing.
So do you care what venue it is that you at least are performing at?
No, not at all. All I care about is that they're going to be able to provide our equipment.
That's right. Yeah, let's speak of that. Right, is the band is you're bringing some gear with you, right?
Yeah, we're bringing very minimal gear. I'm just bringing a guitar, Bass player's just bringing a bass.
Because you got a Hammond
The keyboard player's not bringing one, so we're going to be assigned a stage that's got a Hammond B3 on it.
Okay.
And then the drummer's just bringing, the pedals and sticks and cymbals.
Yeah, this is going to be a great time, man. It's going to be interesting. Again, I just love, those, that know me, the history. There's a history aspect of it, and just kind of absorbing, the sound and what it was like. And like even watching that Elvis movie, whether it's factual or not, but you at least hope it was, that Elvis intersected, some of the big names, because they were all about that same time, whether it was Little Richard or B.B. King, right?
Little Richard, a pioneer in his own right. B.B. King, a pioneer in his own right. Like all of these people, literally massive linchpins in the propelling of the American art form of music.
It's just crazy to think that there was that crossroads of all that happening at the same time. So, but no, I'm stoked, man. So,
yeah, it's going to be great. So we're going to walk in. We've got 10 minutes to get on stage and start playing. And if you're a musician, it takes half an hour just to load in, and hopefully you get a couple hours of sound check. No, we got 10 minutes altogether, and then we're playing. So it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, no,
it's going to be bare bones, just bare knuckled, straight up raw music, nothing but energy.
And the one thing you cannot forget, and we've talked about it in previous episodes, is the jacket.
The jacket, yes, absolutely. The magic of the jacket is going to carry us through.
Yep. So if you haven't follow Kevin over on social media there to see that jacket we're talking about.
And by the way, subscribers of my Facebook page get to see, I got permission to live stream the performances in Nashville.
Cool. Okay.
So if you subscribe to the Kevin McLoughlin Band page on Facebook, just go to Facebook and type in hashtag Kevin M in the search bar. You can become a subscriber, and then you'll see the whole thing.
Very cool. So, yeah. So, they're almost there.
They're almost there.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then, of course, Paul, the infamous and up-and-coming, the Florida podcaster himself, is scheduled to be there. We don't know 100% if he's going to be able to do it, but we've got Paul
Stay tuned.
himself that's going to be documenting the entire event with the behind-the-scenes interviews and all the crazy, weird stuff that's going to be going on.
So, yeah. So, if you are this is good content for your subscribers there. So some of the behind the scenes stuff, some of the wild debauchery that will happen at the Airbnb, I
don't know if I don't want to live stream that. That's
not live streaming, but some good kind of little bit of snippets and whatevers and so forth.
But suffice it to say that the subscribers will see all kind of things that nobody else gets to see.
That's right. So definitely subscribe to Kevin's Facebook page there, and it's gonna be looking forward to it. I know it's gonna be a long week there. We're already out the gate here in 2024. We're gonna do that show. I might even, this is how crazy I'm kind of, it's not like I'm getting any older or younger, but it's either I'm also possibly going to do that cruise ship with Mr. Johnny Ringo. So the pirate heads and pirates, and I always screw it up. But anyway, so the Margaritaville ship had a West Palm Beach here, so I may end up on that ship maybe, and then again I'm rolling right out the door to go to Memphis. So I'm a glutton for punishment. But speaking though of me turning 50 this year, and that's not till much later this year, we do have.
I thought that was like 10 years ago.
Thanks. We do have. We do have somebody coming. Got a birthday coming up here, so what's the deal with that, man? How old are you going to be here, man? Are you or are you a woman that's not going to don't want to? I shouldn't ask your age. Yeah, this guy's birthday is.
I'm old enough to know what to do, and still young enough to do.
Yeah, he's still young enough not to collect Social Security. So yeah, that's gonna be roll right in travel. All right, yeah. So we got still some things that we got to button up here, at least for my part. He's definitely going for sure. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be kind of really good, interesting. Again, you've got a lot of history with Florida, being Florida born.
Well, not born. I was 2 when my family moved me here.
Okay, so more or less, yeah.
And I can't even say it was against my will because I didn't even know any better.
But you'd consider yourself a Floridian at this point.
I am a Floridian, raised a Floridian. I'm a Florida boy. I'll tell you that right now.
And so you've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of the music scene here in the South Florida, Central Florida area. You've done a lot of the shows. You get a lot of different bands. You've performed with a lot of different people. And even some of your things have taken you to, you ride a motorcycle, so it's on the road. But again, what did John Bon Jovi say? A steel horse I ride. Is that a reference to motorcycles, right?
Yeah.
And in some of those stories that in a new segment that we're going to talk about here in this year in season 2 is Tales from the Road. So Kevin, more so than I do. I don't have nearly as many stories probably as Kevin does from the road, whether it's some type of maybe something that's musical related, whether it's a gig, something crazy at the gig, some type of Spinal Tap moment, which we got to do a Spinal Tap thing at some point too, and or some crazy concert story, anything that's crazy music story here, but. You play a lot around the Bike Week or Biketoberfest in Daytona, so I'm sure you've got a great story somewhere in there about a past Bike Week or Biketoberfest performance or experience.
Yeah, but it's Well,
he's stalling because he knows he's got some good juicy stuff that
trying to decide how I can say this without causing lawsuits. But one of the things that I love about playing Bike Week is the fact that I'm just like within a walking distance of the stage all week. All I got to do is wake up, walk over, play, go back. And but in recent years, now that my teeny tiny little music empire has expanded to the point where I get to bring my motorcycle every year, I'm riding all the time, and they've got bands all day, every day, like from 10 a.m. until 2 a.m. And 3 years ago, I got the 10 p.m. slot. And so think about it. I'm waking up, I'm hopping on my bike, and I'm riding around Biketoberfest.
You got a lot of time to kill,
week.
Right?
I got all day to kill. I'm drinking like a fish. By the time I get to showtime, I'm already way too drunk. And, when I've been drinking too much, I tend to talk too much. So
I love you guys.
So, anyway, it's, so the bartenders at Bike Week, it's all about the, suggestive dress and all that stuff. So the one bartender, she's mixing a drink, and, like most bartenders mix their drinks this way. She was mixing her drink this way. So that's somehow caught my attention. I'm not sure why. And so I'm like, all right, so everybody who buys a drink, everybody in the bar needs to buy a drink that needs mixed and get it from her. And the band is going to stop when she's mixing it. And that's what we did for the rest of the night. Every time she's mixing a drink like this, we switched the spotlight over to the bartender, and she's mixing the drink like this. And then the other bartender, we had no thing for her. We had no, way to help her make tips. So I couldn't think of anything. And so the other bartender, every time the other bartender, the one who was mixing the drinks, she would take the fly swatter and just smack her with it. So apparently I enjoyed that so much that as soon as the band was done playing, they were like, come here for a minute. And they pushed me out the door and they locked it.
Thank you for
So I got kicked out from my own show for saying too much stuff about the bartenders.
Yeah, dude. You're just trying to help him out, right?
I was just trying to help him make some tips.
Right, yeah.
Apparently I took it too far, which never happens.
Why? Yeah. I mean, trust me. I probably haven't seen as much as some of the stuff, even though I lived in Daytona for many years. Had visited a couple places during those time periods, Biketoberfest in October or Bike Week in March, and I don't have a motorcycle, so I don't get to immerse as much as as you do, but it's definitely interesting sight to see in certain things. There are some definitely scantily clad certain things.
Well, from my perspective, Bike Week is the only time when that's the only place that's normal anymore, and the rest of the world is abnormal.
Yeah.
Because listen, everybody's hanging out, eating great food, around great people, all enjoying a common interest, and there's beautiful women everywhere, and handsome men, if that's what you're into, all dressed up in leather and looking badass and having a great time on beautiful, the most beautiful motorcycles in the world show up. I mean, what could be better? I don't know. And in the midst of all that, I'm actually doing what I was made to do, performing for all these people. It's great. I love it.
And everybody, as I always say, is right. We put all of our differences aside, political, whatever it may be, and we're enjoying the event, enjoying others' company, enjoying others' motorcycles, music, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. It's definitely, I know the story. You probably maybe know it better than I do. Is always the connotation probably to what people still think Bike Week is and was. Doctors and everyone's doctors nowadays, and so
I can hear the construction. We're expanding the studio
right.
here. We got if you hear some jackhammering in the background,
so if you see us next week, if we're not here in the studio, it's because we're still under construction. So
Jackson has sprung a leak, so we need to go ahead and take care of our stone wall here.
Got to get some gunite. So that's an interesting.
Or maybe just the refrigerator's about to die. I don't know.
It could be, yes. Our refrigerator here in the shack, so we need to soundproof our fridge. So you maybe the reference to the bartender was because you watched maybe the Airplane movie too many times when Ted Stryker was telling her that I think she's shimmying, and there, of course, is zoomed to.
No, it's just because I was having way too much fun watching one bartender spank the other. Got to be true.
Yes, we've been around each other. We've had a little too much, and we definitely. I can see. Yes, I can see this happen for sure.
I literally got escorted out of my own show, and the door locked behind me.
What location, or can you say?
It was at the Cabbage Patch.
You got thrown out of the Cabbage Patch?
I know, you really got to screw up. You got thrown out of the Cabbage Patch. I mean, people, you could just shoot someone and sit back down. No one's going to kick you out, but I got kicked out.
The home of the Jello wrestling and cabbage.
Not Jello wrestling. It's cabbage coleslaw wrestling.
Yes, coleslaw wrestling. Yes.
Coleslaw wrestling, and the bagger bike off, and all that stuff. There's just no way to get kicked out of the Cabbage Patch unless you really screw up. And
it's definitely for those that may think it's a little too much for them. It's definitely
It is. If you think it's too much for you, it is. Don't go.
If you haven't seen the wall, the wall of
death,
the Iron Horse
of death. If you're not okay with the wall of death, don't go.
What's funny is, Kevin, is in many years, again, I never had a need because I didn't drive a motorcycle, and again, is don't quite maybe fit whatever you want to call it. But when I finally had gone to the Iron Horse up on US 1, and then you go in. The Iron Horse Saloon is not much bigger than probably the building the room we're sitting in at the moment. But you think it's much bigger. But of course, it's the whole property that fills the rest of it up, the camp,
Yeah, so the whole deal is like all of these. Okay, so all of the iconic biker bars in Daytona are like very old, and they're probably, most of them about 600 square feet, right? They're old school 1%er biker hangouts. Which, when they were, founded, they were literally in the middle of nowhere, and so those bars still exist. But the thing about it is, 10 months out of the year, they're an 800 square foot hole in the wall bar. But for Bike Week and Biketoberfest, they open the back door, and they're 20-acre theme parks of badassery. So it's a very interesting kind of dynamic that they've got going on there. It's very cool.
And there's a lot that people don't realize is when you come to visit, Daytona has many things going on in whether it's the speed weeks or NASCAR or spring break or just to come to visit the beaches or bike week. There's always something going on, a big event. These places, like Kevin said, it's the rest of the year, the other 50 weeks in the year, it's a ghost town. Like Main Street, which is filled to the gills during Bike Week, with people, motorcycles, things, and the bars and everything. But during the off season.
Well, I wouldn't call it a ghost town, but it's just like normal.
Right, normal, right. There's, not ghost town. But most of those places are...
It's an unrevitalized downtown area.
But they go in... what I've always been told was that 1 week puts a lot of these places in the black. Where, so it's usually... That's when they make their...
Bike week is 10 days, and Biketoberfest, according to the Chamber of Commerce, is 3 days, but according to Daytona, it's 10 days. So those 20 days a year pay the bills for the whole year.
Yeah. So like I said, it's something different. It's interesting. It's
Daytona is unique because it marks the beginning and the end of the riding season.
Okay.
Because from middle of October on, for the rest of the country, there's no riding. It's everybody brings their motorcycles back home and puts them in the garage and hooks them up to the heat, and they're not going to ride again until they trailer them up and bring them back down to Daytona in the springtime. That's why those two are so popular, because they mark the beginning and the end of the riding season for everyone but us in Florida. But you don't want to come to Florida because it totally sucks here.
So it's like the start and end of the summer, unofficials, like Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Start and the end of the bike riding season.
I guess I never kind of realized that. So why there was the two. But cool. So so the Tales on the Road. So again, so I know you've got a lot more stories there. So there's stories for lots of different reasons on the road. If you want to find a place where things can go wrong at an exponential level over and above normal life, the road is where it's at for that. Yep. So who knows? We may make some new memories on this road trip. So that could be.
There's no question. If we don't, we've been slacking, and we're gonna have to do it again.
We have to come back. I'll share. I've got an interesting story about Main Street as well. I'll share on when it's my turn here. But I've got an interesting. I had performed on Main Street at a music event back in 2017, and so we'll have to share that with you guys. And there's some interesting things that happened that weekend. So I will try to kind of not name names and when I tell this story.
Oh yeah, you don't want to drag anybody down into the
protect the innocent. So. But
the names have been changed to protect the guilty.
For sure. So there you go, guys. This is a new segment there. 2024 is Tales from the Road, Tales from the Road, Tales from the Show, whatever it may be. A great music kind of story that we've got that happened that was related to music, whether it was a time when some girl tried to knock me out on the hill at the amphitheater here, which I'll share a little bit more details about that, but all sorts of crazy stuff, all music related, of course, that hopefully entertain you and
crazy, awesome, good, fun stories and epic stories of shit hitting the fan
that we survived.
Yes, that we survived. Yes, as a matter of fact, that's where I come. That's like when people ask me, was it a good gig? Well, there were no accidental deaths or dismemberments, so yes.
But were there any children conceived at a Kevin McLoughlin show?
You can't say that for at least 9 months. Or until the call comes in.
Unless you were filming it. So if you're a Facebook subscriber to Kevin McLaughlin's page, check out the film.
I just have no idea what to say right now.
Yeah, he's got it. Man, he's Kevin speechless, man.
He stumped me.
Boom. So again,
how are we going to tie all this into the riffs or the rhythms?
So, we don't have to, right?
This is the Riffs and Rhythms podcast. We haven't talked about riffs or rhythms at all this time.
It's all about the music. It's all somewhere. There's a riff and a rhythm in there somewhere.
So how are we going to tie this into the riffs and rhythms in the upcoming season now?
So how do we tie this?
Totally ruined our first episode.
Right? Because we didn't usually. I know we. Well, we could tie it in there again.
The first episode of the second season, I'm sorry.
We could definitely make sure we ask the viewers and the listeners that if you have a local band and if you've got a video or a song that you want us to review and kind of give our thoughts on what made that song. Again, look, it's just our interpretation of a review. Reviews are just an opinion.
Well,
right?
it's to decide if it's the riff or the rhythm that makes the song a good song.
So we don't want the guitarist or the drummer getting upset at us if we vote. But again, most of the time.
Well, if we get the drummer upset or the guitar player upset, that just means they should practice more.
Wow. That's so true. Truth hurts.
Tons of sympathy going on right here.
That's right. Yeah, there's a meme, and I know Christmas just passed us, but there's a meme that always floats around this time of the year, or that time of the year, where it's a meme that says, it's a picture of Santa Claus, and it's always in a drummer thing, and it says, I know what you're getting for Christmas is a metronome.
All right, well, let's talk about this frankly. All right, listen, guys. Unsigned bands, listen up. Like 1,000 new songs get uploaded to Spotify alone every single day. Okay, why are you special? I don't know. You tell me. You better be freaking world class if you want to be considered by people. That's all I got to say. And don't suck, or else you're already off the list. So, be good. The good part about it is that you can be good, and when you're good, everybody's going to know about it right away. But if you're bad, everybody's going to know about it right away. So, truly, sit down, practice, make if you're an artist and you want to make your living as an artist, all you've got is your technique and your ability. So, shine it up before you show it to everybody. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Show it to everybody and find out what about it needs shined up.
Right.
And understand that, everybody's going to be harsh, as they should be. And let it help you become better. But, don't whine when somebody doesn't like your stuff. You don't like stuff that's way better than you are, so get over it.
Hey, and take our feedback if you want to put it up and have us give it a listen, and we'll,
absolutely.
Yeah,
we're gonna review stuff with
right.
a cynical and yet supportive eye.
Right. Again, we understand that some of the things we've done in previous shows has been heavily production quality videos.
No, we sit here with a phone on a stick in front of a stone wall named Jackson.
No, I'm talking about the songs we've done in the past.
Oh,
thank
sorry.
you for exposing our high quality equipment that we're doing our show on.
No, I'm talking about my own camera.
Oh, okay.
So my camera technique is that when my band plays, I'll take my phone and usually strap it to a tree and just record it. That's all I do. And that's the videos.
There you go. So we get it, so we understand based on the quality and based on put it in the same merits. Again, if you're pulling full production show and everything else with the right sound system, you better.
It can kill it, but Hollywood was made with toothpicks and Band-Aids.
But again, if it's an iPhone camera and if that's what it is and that's what all you have, well, we'll take that into consideration and understand it. Yes, there's some of the quality from the recording device too.
Oh, nobody's going to be judged upon the medium by way.
Exactly.
Send us a crayon animation. I'll be happy with that. As long as it's good, I don't care.
Right? Yeah. So hey, look, we're asking free promotion here. We'll talk about it, and that's how you should be.
Yeah, so literally what we are offering, this is what we're, all the BS aside, what we want to do is we are going to incorporate, especially Florida, but from anywhere, unsigned bands. Submit your songs to us, and we will decide if it's the riff or the rhythm that makes the song better. And do send it to us in video format because we watch it. It's hard to watch an MP3. So we're going to go
on acid.
Well, yeah. And then you can't take credit for the show if you're the band, can you? So we want to do this. This is part of the new season. Is we are going to be. I'm an independent artist. If somebody would be willing to make my songs and my videos a part of their podcast, I'd be all over it. So this is my chance to do the same thing for all of you. And then Paul's going to disagree with me when I say the rhythms are better. So that's how it's going to work.
That's right. That's my job.
But it's really the riffs that are better.
So it'll be the plot twist if we review one of Kevin's songs. And he says,
"No, I can't review my song because I will trash that crap. I can tell you right now.
Who is this guy? Who's this guitar player?
No, I'll tell you what my review is. Get a singer, get a guitar player, get a new way to record, and get a different song. Everything else is perfect."
Oh, my God. So 2024 and more this year.
24, the year of more.
That's
more
right.
of what is up to you. Make it more good.
So yeah, so take your shot at it. Step up, do your best, do everything you can. Always push for more, and never settle for less. And keep rocking it. So definitely looking forward to it. So next episode we'll be I think taping because the studio is going to be under construction, and we might be taping on location somewhere else outside. So we're going to leave
at a secret, undisclosed location in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right. So we're going to need somebody to house babysit Jackson while we're possibly gone. And so come on over if you want to hang out here and shoot a podcast for us and
keep Jackson company.
That's right. We have stunt doubles that'll come over and tape the podcast for Kevin and I. So Lorenzo Lamas will be Kevin. So
cool.
That's right. So he's in all those motorcycle stuff. So, but anyway, so good episode there. So we'll kind of get rolling here again. This is our new come changing some things up for 2024, and hopefully enjoy it there. Tales from the Road. Also, we talked about Kevin's McLoughlin Musical Minute.
Oh, yeah, the McLoughlin Musical Minute will be a feature in the new season.
Right. Yep.
Sure
So there'll be some shout-outs there. Spotlight on some local South Florida Treasure Coast musicians, and some of them a little bit. So again, hey, look, we're all about supporting, promoting, and growing, and helping each other out here about getting the music out there, especially local music. And this is where we live, and we want to kind of help elevate fellow musicians who should be more probably recognized, and or help support those that probably need a little bit more tuning, that have the right things, and you just kind of,
Did you say a little more tuning?
Yes, tuning, yeah.
If you're out of tune, we'll tell you, that's for sure.
That's right. See, look, I made a guitar reference. No, I guess there were drums do tune too, yeah.
You need to tune the drums, that's for sure.
Yeah, you made a reference to a drum key, drum key
Paul,
earlier.
Tune the drums.
That's why I have Drum Dial. Thank you for the sponsorship. And
I tune my guitars all the time. It doesn't help, though.
So, all right. So, again, thanks for tuning in to the... Oh, man, I almost went Drums and Rums there. The wrong podcast. So, check out Drums and Rums podcast there. Shout out there. Drums and Rums. And so check out Riffs and Rhythms podcast on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you can listen to the podcast there.
Oh, wait, Paul.
Yes.
They're already checking it out.
Well, okay. So, check out the comments and give us a rating. How about that? Is that better?
Now, he's a drummer. I'm sorry. You're already watching. Go ahead and press the subscribe button.
And
press the like button. Press the bell.
Ding.
Watch some other episodes. Tell your friends. Share it, whatever. And hopefully, after all this, you'll still be willing to watch another episode.
So, this is
the Riffs
and Rhythms podcast. I am Paul, and this is
Kevin.
Thanks for tuning in, listening, whatever you may do. Cheers.